right. Hey, welcome to Demo Days, the show where we ask vendors tough questions. I'm your host, Steve Taylor. I'm joined today by Kasey from Atro. Kasey, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good, Steve. Happy Friday. Good to see you.
Thank you, man. Happy Friday to you too. Um, so hey, guys, if you've never heard of Atro, it's okay. Neither have I until a few weeks ago when we started talking about doing this. But that's because you're a new company. So can you give me a little bit of background? Like, uh, for, I would say first, can you give me some background on you, Kasey? Like, why should we know, like, and trust you? And then give me some background on Atro.
Sure. Before I start, I'm repping my channel program orange. Not an accident. I realized I have this orange sweatshirt, so I threw it on.
And it almost blends perfectly into
I know. I'm like
the name. It's awesome.
It's like those weather, shows where they blend in with the background. That was Michael.
I used to have a couple shirts that color, but I'm a bigger guy, and my friends always told me I looked like a traffic cone. So.
I am too, Steve. Probably, yeah. Glad that I'm working from home, so not many people are seeing the bright orange.
All good, man. All good.
Well, yeah. I'll sort of kick it off and give a little bit of my backstory, and sort of the story of Atro, and it really starts, whether I knew it or not. Atro started in my childhood. I really come from humble beginnings. I was raised by a single mother and one of 6 kids, and I didn't go to college, and I was very, very acutely aware of disparity in the world. And I promise this will make sense to everybody as I get into it. But I really set out, and I'm a mission, driven person, and I happened to get into a really interesting world, doing cybersecurity for billionaires. I have, supported many household names, many of the products we use, name a name, and I've probably supported them in some way, being their de facto CISO, or built a risk management platform, or done some sort of security or tech for them. And I spent about 15 years doing that. Sometimes embedded, for long term with clients, other times, consulting. And I realized that there was a big disparity in this world, and that wasn't necessarily financial or educational, but basically cybersecurity is out of control. It's a big deal. I spent a lot of money and built a really great skill set doing, risk management and building these tools and putting them together, building programs for these billionaires. And I realized, how are smaller teams doing this? How can you build a real program to manage risk, manage the likelihood that your company is going to get attacked, if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars or a hyper technical team? And extrapolating that out to, sort of MSPs and technical people in the world, we're sort of in this paradigm where technology is moving so fast, and managing risks and putting together a program to manage or reduce the likelihood that a company will get attacked, it's becoming harder and harder for partners, even if you are technical. And so that was really the ethos of Atro. I was working at a billionaire, and I came up with this idea that, and really they are de facto small businesses, these people that I was supporting. And I really was looking for tools. I was trying to solve this problem myself. I'm hyper technical and am familiar with the market. And I really couldn't find a tool that did legitimate risk management, right? There are tools that make security easy. And then there's also sort of hyper technical point solutions. And so I set out to build a platform that really is legitimate risk management, an all-in-one solution, sort of built from the ground up with a new take, a radical new sort of take on risk management. So that's what Atro is. That's a bit of my background. And again, the reason why I'm doing it is because I saw the disparity in the world, and it's not getting better. I think we use this a lot in Atro. We see this stat that as of last year, 70% of small businesses had some sort of successful attack, right? That doesn't
Mhm.
really mean they got totally owned, but there was some sort of maybe a malware event or something like that. So the statistics, every single statistic shows that it's getting only worse. And yet we're working as hard as we can to slow this stuff down, right? So why is it still getting worse? Because I believe, and when I set out to build Atro, I was in this headspace, and this is still the case. And why we're building Atro is we're not approaching the problem right. We're sort of chasing point solutions. We're overly focusing in certain areas and certain technologies. And what Atro does is sort of flip that model on its head, where risk management is more of this broad, set of insights than it is one or two individual things in the fluidity of the market and things like that. So, yeah, that's sort of the high level of me and why I built Atro.
That I gotta say, I have so many questions about the serving cybersecurity to billionaires thing
Yeah.
that I feel like we could have a show just where we talk about that. And I'm
Let's
going to
do
talk to you
it.
after we do
We
this.
will have to have everyone sign an NDA.
I don't even need to know names or anything.
Yeah,
I have so many questions about how, like, what does a billionaire household look like, so that
right.
way maybe we small business owners could start to structure the things that we're doing to seem more like the way these super wealthy people operate.
Yeah,
Because I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, these exceptionally wealthy people, they've got like they've got a budget for cybersecurity just to protect them and their immediate family
yeah,
and their household.
right.
And like, this is the type of stuff that I think us little guys don't always think about. Is we should actually have a budget that, that we're managing our family, our home, almost kind of like a business, and we should have, a cybersecurity line item for what we're doing. So
Yeah.
I've got so many questions, and we're gonna have to talk about that some other time.
Yes.
um
Let's follow up.
so
I got a lot of good stories, and really the insight of Atro, came from working in these people's worlds. And there are obviously, like you said, Steve, there are correlations to your personal life too, just best practices. The biggest insight that I found, these people effectively have a small business that
mhm.
supports their life, right? It's a
Yeah.
team of 50 people or 20 people. And so my whole career has really been in supporting small businesses, but they don't really have, like you said, they have a budget, but they can spend more money on this stuff. And so but again, coming from where I'm coming from, I'm not here to spend people's money. I'm trying to, make this as budget friendly as possible, and
Sure.
as effective as possible. So I really identify with sort of the budget constraints of smaller teams and resource constraints. That's really the core of it. So that's what I brought from that world is, even given really no budget constraints, this is even a hard thing, meaning risk management and information security. So how can we save time, save money, but like you said, still have a line item in a small business around this? And I know a lot of MSPs that watch this or are thinking about building a business around cyber. The industry is still nascent. There's still a lot to learn, with getting small businesses secure, educating, getting them to understand this stuff. That's one thing that I had a privilege of in that industry is typically these people are pretty smart, even the ones, especially the ones that I, worked for, and they were very visionary and forward thinking. So it didn't take a lot of sort of convincing that they needed risk management. I know a lot of people out there in the trenches, building a business around cybersecurity. There's a lot of sort of education and convincing. So there's another thing that we're building around that too. That's sort of the how you help people understand their risks, right? And so back to your point, Steve, like, being able to set aside some budget or resource in a small business for doing these things is really phase one, and then
Mhm.
doing the things and getting it done is really phase two. And that's what we're trying to help our partners build, give them the tools that help tell the story. We call it a risk story. help a customer understand that they're at risk, and then set aside that budget. And the real goal for us is if we can make that budget as small as possible, then we can be more effective in the market and get security to more people. So yeah.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
So I have a background in doing some web design stuff, and
Okay.
I say air quotes marketing because I'm not a marketing professional, but in order to do websites, you have to have a little bit of marketing
Yeah.
knowledge, right? So when I look at your website, I'm going to pick on you a little bit.
Go for it.
I still can't figure out what you do.
Right.
And what I mean by that is like, is this antivirus? Is it spam filtering? Is it phishing testing? Like I don't actually know what all Atro does, because like when you go to the homepage, it's not really spelled out for people.
Hmm.
So can you tell me, like, what does Atro do for MSPs?
Yep. So thanks for the feedback, by the way. That's really
Yeah.
great. I'm definitely big on feedback and how we can get better. For MSPs, what we do is we give them a platform to manage cybersecurity. So this is another thing that I realized being a practitioner, and I know all of the audience here and anybody that watches this, video in the future are well aware of, is there's a lot of marketing speak. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in cybersecurity. And if you're trying to get cybersecurity done, right, you're trying to accomplish the goal through tools, it's really hard to wade through what's out there. And I would say, totally frankly, as a startup, it's really hard to sort of differentiate and articulate without saying we're all in one. We're
Right.
360 security, because everyone is saying that, and they're not. They maybe do one or two things, to manage your risk. They're maybe EDR, MDR, but we're still 360. And again, I hope everybody understands if they understand one thing coming out of this is I have done this job. I have tried to build and manage cybersecurity tools, and I noticed the gap in this thing.
Mm.
That everybody says 360, you get into their platform, it's not 360. It's them. They started with a tool, and then they bolted some features onto it, and then tried to sell it to the market as the tool. And that's not how risk management works, right? And so what we do for MSPs and what we do for the market is we've taken sort of a first principles approach to risk management, right? And when I say first principles, I'm not in love with that term, but it is the truth. We sort of reimagined how you can build a product around risk management. And when you think of it through that lens, it's not the stack, it's not the tools, it's the platform, right? So phishing is a thing we do, right? And we can talk about, and we will demo the phishing tool. But really what we're trying to accomplish is the risk around people clicking on, phishing links, right? That's a thing, that's a risk in a business's environment that you need to mitigate if you're building a program, right? Now, how powerful that thing is, how many features are associated with it, how much risk it reduces individually is all contextual, right? Like if you don't use email, if you don't have a lot of IP in email, then that's not your biggest risk in your business, right? It could be that you have MFA turned off, on your Dropbox or something like that. And so this is, again, being a practitioner and sort of spending my life in understanding a threat landscape. What I realized is that getting focused on the tools isn't necessarily the right way to solve this. Now, there is a practical, real world thing here, and that is you have to have the tools. But our take is, how can we simplify those tools, and how can we make them sort of like scalable and modular, so that you use the tools that you need when you need them. So again, back to your question, what does Atro do for MSPs or ultimately the end clients, is we put those tools in one place in a scalable way, and in an automated sort of ecosystem, and make it easy to deploy them, easy to manage them, and easy to understand, I say, how things are going. So how is phishing going? okay, I've deployed the tool. How effective is it really in the environment? And zooming out from just phishing, how is my risk management going? What are my biggest risks across this business? Where am I likely to get attacked? That's a really, really hard thing. And the market kind of convinces you that, oh, if you put EDR or XDR on a machine, or an endpoint, you have the tool. Now that endpoint is pretty good depending on the EDR, we can get into that. But really, again, if you don't have MFA on your email and you're not looking over there, or you guys aren't building the right processes and foundations of security, then you're sort of missing the point. And back to my core insight, this is why cybersecurity just continues to get worse and worse, because it's not necessarily a technical solution. It's more of sort of a mindset. It's risk management. It's lowering the likelihood of a vulnerability in a certain area. And so, again, vulnerability management is a thing. Understanding what your vulnerabilities are is a thing, but having a platform that you can kind of do the things that you need to do in a quick and easy way. And again, our goal with Atro, sort of our mission, is to drive down the complexity so that you can do this, across the scale. So you don't get sort of stuck in phishing. You can roll out multiple tools. So hopefully that's helpful. The other thing I would say is what we're building with Atro is a partner program. And I know there's a lot of partner programs out there. What we're doing differently is we're really focused. If you're a smaller MSP and you're trying to get into cybersecurity and you're trying to build your business around deploying cybersecurity, we're really focused on giving you a set of tools and a platform and a process to go sell cybersecurity, right? So the goal here is to get more clients, to get more revenue, and really build your business around this solution. And so what we've realized is, we put a lot of effort in the tool, building the technology, but we also have this sort of process and program that MSPs can go into, and we give them this lightweight, sort of training on how to sell cyber, how to become a trusted advisor and build trust with your customer to help educate and get them to understand what cybersecurity is, and then have a really great sort of process that you can take customers through from inception all the way to maintenance, so that you can, again, sort of build a book of business around cybersecurity and get recurring revenue. So that's what we do too.
Very cool. Are we able to see the platform? You want to show us a demo?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to show you.
Very cool. So down on the bottom, there's a present button. You can present just a tab, a whole window, or your whole screen.
All right, I'm going to do my whole screen. I'm reading through the thing just to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so here's Atro. I'm going to give you a couple views here.
I'm not seeing anything yet.
Oh, let me see. There we go.
There we go.
You see it now?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I might full screen this just so we're fully in this. So this is the Atro dashboard. And again, we've really, really focused on making the process simple. Again, the sort of first principles thing, making this cohesive. So everything that you see on the screen is not sort of cobbled together. We put things together in a very meaningful way, and it all sort of ladders up and is cohesive. So some of the things that you see on the screen are our team risk view, which I'll dive into in a second. We give a security score, which this isn't, groundbreaking. This is a score that you guys probably have seen a lot, but I'll show you why this is more meaningful and how we do it differently. And again, the first principles take. And then the other thing that's sort of the meat and potatoes of Atro are the modules. And this is, again, another really big differentiator for us is our modularity. You might hear that from other tools, but we really are module based and really are scalable in our modules. So you don't have to use all the modules in Atro. Again, if you just want to do phishing tests, or if you just want to connect Office 365, you can do those. Or if you want to do DNS, DKIM, DMARC, things like that, you can pick the tools that you want. And we sort of have this app marketplace of apps that we support. And the goal here is how can we sort of walk you through the process of deploying these tools in a really simple an easy way. So you pick one of these tools. Let's say we want to do a sensitive data policy for a customer. You can read about it, or you can dive into it and actually get started on it. Now, again, this workflow that we're doing, we're building a policy for a customer, and Atro can give you a policy that we've built. You can bring your own policy if you want, or I'll show you guys in a minute. We have actually partner features where you can, as a partner, have your own policy templates and deploy them that way. So we'll do an Atro policy. The next step, and again, this is why we call them flows. They're these sort of workflows where you step through individually to get the thing done. So here we're building a sensitive data policy. We give you the boilerplate template. We sort of have this smart editor, that you can put the company name in. You can change information, or add stipulations or, certain things into the policy, things like that. And, kind of edit till you're happy. And then we have a 2-phase kind of rollout for policies. One is approvers. So these could be people in your org or in your client's org that need to approve the policy before the team sees it. So I'll pick Mark from my team. And we have sort of this flow-based assigning where you see Mark and me are in this demo account right now. We can add other team members. We can upload CSV. We really try to make it seamless and a part of the flow to sort of do some of the administrative functions versus like having to add everybody and then, invite them later. So we focus really on how we save time, as you do these things. Okay, so that's step one, the approvers. Step two is who should follow the policy. Again, if you have the team, you can invite them here. I'll assign me and Mark. Mark is an approver and he needs to follow the policy, so he'll do both. We have this function that we call auto assign. And how auto assign works is anyone that's added, once I launch this flow, anyone that's added to Atro will automatically get added to this flow as well. So this works really well with directory sync. So if you connect up your Google or Office 365 environment, or we just released an Okta integration, and those are sort of your directories, your user directories. If you add a new person into those directories, they'll automatically be synced down to Atro as a user and then added to all the flows that you have auto assign on. So really, go ahead, Steve, if you had something to say.
No, I just kind of, because I like that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, and again, as we go through all of this, what we're really trying to accomplish is how do we save you guys' time? And I've been in this seat. I don't want to go in and when I'm onboarding a person or a customer hires a new, employee, have to go into all the tools, add them to a new policy, start phishing them, do all these things. All you do is go through and sort of set up the customer with the tools that they need, turn on auto assign, and then you can go into your directory and add a new user, and then they get sort of invited into the security program, right? They get their policies, they get phished, they get awareness training, things like that. So that's sort of how auto assign and assigning people works. We have this step that we call launch control. This is different for each flow, but for policies, we have like, can you set a deadline? Really simple stuff. Or, for policies, we'll remind you to renew the policy once a year. It's like a best practice, but you can turn that off if you want. And then now we've launched the policy. So a couple of things here. Every time you launch a flow, you have it's now in a status screen. So this flow is like activated and on, and this happens module by module. So every time you walk through that setup, now once you come back to this flow, you'll sort of see its status. So we're in the approver stage right now. Again, we picked Mark. So Mark got an email, hey, I need you to approve this policy. I can come in out of band and kind of, remind him to approve the policy, but we'll also give him a weekly email for his actions and Atro. You can see when the policy was created. And then once Mark approves, or once we go past all of the approvers approving the policy, then we'll move into the team compliance phase. And those team members will automatically get alerted to come in and accept. And you'll be able to see when they've accepted and be able to track that. We sort of score you as well on how things are going. So we've given you, like a D plus here, because
From an F.
yes, exactly. So you sort of start low, and work your way up to an A plus if, all your approvers have done their thing, if all your team members have done their thing. And that's a little bit of a differentiator for us in the scoring, is each module has its own score, and all of the controls and what we call checks inside of that flow, they're all weighted and scored relative to that flow. And then all of that feeds up into your overall score. So you can see, like, at a specific level how your security is going, like phishing or policies. And then you can sort of zoom out and see at a high level across all the things that I'm doing, how really is my security program going. That's one of the things that is a big differentiator for us, is use the score to help guide you to get better and help you understand where you're at. And for MSPs, be able to sit down with your customer and show them where they have challenges and what they need to improve on. And I'll show you how that works kind of in a second. A couple other things here. You can view the policy as it's launched. Here's like my little info that I put in.
Mm-hmm.
We have this feature that we call live policy, where once you turn that on, Atro hosts the policy for you and gives you a live link that you can put into your customers' like onboarding docs or handbooks. Or if the customer ever has like compliance needs where they need to share their policies, instead of sharing them like via PDF that gets outdated and things like that, you can share that link and then they can go see the policy live. So if you ever go back and update the policy, they'll always be looking at the latest version of it that's been deployed. So that's sort of how the live policy thing works. So stepping back and pausing right there, that's one example of a flow in kind of how we're approaching doing these things, right? Versus sort of telling you how things are done or doing a risk assessment. The idea is you need to get policies done for your customer. How can we help sort of support you in rolling these things out and making it radically simple to do different policies or things like that? And again, we have other tools like phishing tests I can take you through, or cloud apps or things like that. So I'll pause there. Steve, any thoughts on where we're at right now? I can keep going with the demo, or we can sort of branch off from here.
Yeah, so a couple questions. One, so these policies, this is similar to I mean, how do I want to phrase this? These are the types of policies that businesses should already have in place,
Right.
hypothetically. So sensitive data policy, password policy, data disposal policy.
Right.
Do you have like a computer acceptable use policy, something like that?
So we have a lot of policies and we're building them as time goes on. So this is why we've made this modular, is policies. And again, you guys, I don't mean to be spicy, but I've been in this seat, like people sort of like pitch their policy templates. Those are everywhere. And Atro will build a policy template. Again, we've given you the power as an MSP to put whatever template you want in. These are the ones that we've done, out of the gate on the screen here. We have a travel policy, incident response, security policy. To be honest, that's like driven a lot by what people have been asking. We're going to grow this library. This is why we've built Atro to be so modular, is this will be 50 policies, at some point. These are just the first ones that we've picked and we've, gone to this stage. So we don't have an acceptable use. There's an AI policy that we're working on as well, but those are coming soon. But these are the ones that we have right now.
Okay. And then you've got integrations.
Yep. So we have cloud integrations to different cloud tools, Zoom, Okta, Google, Slack. This is my preview environment. So we have a couple that we're kind of like previewing.
Sure.
And how those work specifically, I'll show you. I'll jump over to an environment that shows them. This is our Google integration. And again, same workflow. We connect up through OAuth to Google. So we're not taking your password or your customer's password. We do a simple scan on things like multi-factor, password strength. We don't monitor the hash, just so you guys know. If you guys are wondering technically, Google gives us that endpoint. We basically ingest their security report here. So another really core piece of Atro's ethos is we don't want to take sensitive information into the platform. We just want to monitor sort of security state. So that's what we're doing. We don't know the passwords of users. We just
So Google internally, like you could log into Google Workspace as the admin
right.
and look to see, is this person's password strong? Yes or no.
Yep.
All you're doing is an API pool that
Yes.
basically is checking the yes or no status from Google Workspace and
Yes.
bringing all of that information into a central, uh, let's call it the thing everyone's sick of hearing, single pane of glass. Uh,
Exactly. But truly a single pane of glass. And this is why we, back to what you were saying about the website, why we sometimes, and we're getting better at articulating what we do, is this genuinely is a single pane of glass. We're building these modules, we're releasing them weekly to build your one place to rule them all. Here's how the checks that we do on Slack. I know obviously Office 365 is a huge, part of the world too. We have a connection.
let's be honest. Office 365 is the most used platform for MSPs.
Right.
Do you have a preview of that for us?
Let me see if I can connect it up here, or maybe I can find. Okay, so I'll show you. We're going to go off cuff here a little bit. We have multi-tenancy. So these are all different organizations that we support. So let me see an organization. So these could be your customer
Right.
orgs, and that's how we dive into them. So I'll find one that's already connected here. So here's our Office 365 connector. And again, we look at a little bit more. These are policies based on the advanced protection license around Office, things like improved phishing detection, again, multi-factor, stuff like that. So this is our Office 365 connector. And again, it's all scored and it all feeds up into the global score, from there.
And I want to clarify. So your platform is giving us information, and it's effectively saying you've put together all these policies, whether I put them together or Atro put them together, and I'm just using Atro's policies. And you've also got best practices for how we should set these integrations up.
Exactly.
I'm saying integrations, but like you've got best practices for how we should configure Office 365, for example.
Yes.
And if improved phishing protection is disabled, you don't have today, at least, the ability to click a button and enable that through Atro.
That's not today. That's where that is coming, though. That's on our
Okay.
roadmap. So a couple things for everybody to understand for Office specifically, or Microsoft 365 specifically, is two things. One, we call it managed settings. That's what the feature is. That, yes, we will enable that feature for you. And then number two, we've gotten a lot of requests from MSPs that we ingest the security score. Microsoft has a security score. It's a little bit extra. There's a lot to it. So we're working in product and on how we make that as simple as possible for you guys. But really, that's the cornerstone of how you think about Microsoft 365 security. We've heard you loud and clear, and we're building around that. So that's another thing too in our sort of modularness is each of these apps we're iterating as we go, right? So this is the foundation, the MVP, the first version of Office. We are moving towards how we get, our specific integrations better and better. And that's the next two changes is not just best practices and scanning, but actually fixing, and then also a little bit more robust reporting that aligns itself, the score itself, and then the checks that align with the security center and the security score. So that's coming next.
Very cool.
So again, zooming out, and we do this a lot sort of as technical people and service providers, and this is why we started in this place, is really the foundational things that you need to understand and articulate to your customer around Office 365 are the things on this page, right? And then don't spend a lot of time there configuring it. Move on to the next thing. Device management we can dive into. We have an endpoint agent that does infrastructure as code style device management. So again, very simple and built for small, simple organizations, but it gets this job done. It gets you security at a very basic level. And again, when I say infrastructure as code, what I mean is this is state management. So as opposed to MDM or RMM. You're not building scripts here. You're not monitoring this. You basically install the Atro binary. We monitor the states of these checks, like firewall on my machine here, my Mac. And obviously we have Windows as well. And if this comes out of compliance, like a user turns off their firewall or whatever, we will automatically re-enable the firewall. We check like every 20 minutes. And so that's another sort of like, hard thing to describe, our differentiator, but very, very important for these environments where something like Jamf, Intune, they're overbuilt for really, this baseline of security. Now we're building an Intune integration, just so everybody knows. So that's coming next. Is you can basically use Atro's dashboard to roll out profiles via Intune, or Jamf is on the roadmap as well. So you don't have to write a script to, and manage the binary and all that stuff. All you do is say, I want to turn on VPN, and Atro handles the profile through that. So, but where we're at today is basic checks and basic settings. And then we have this other thing that we call secure internet connection. It's VPN. And we use Cloudflare Warp. And basically we roll out a VPN secure gateway. It's not ZTNA or, more robust VPN. It's a basic, for remote workers or people that travel a lot. We help you deploy basically a secure a VPN portal for those guys through Cloudflare Warp. So that's the setup there. So that's sort of our device management. And then that all reports up into the status of device management. You get a score on it, and you can see sort of the status of how things are going across the org through device management. I can keep rolling, Steve. There's much more.
Please keep rolling.
Yeah. So we've got our phishing test. And again, we're now going across like real time here, going across all of the tools that are foundational in a risk management program, right? You can go out and you might have gone out and gotten individual point solutions for this, paid a lot of money for them, and spent a lot of time setting them up. But we fill in the gaps in that case of other things. Maybe you don't have policy management. Maybe you don't have a phishing test. Also, we're really building Atro to be low cost so you can reach smaller customers. Our goal is to get security out to small companies, not necessarily try to charge them a lot and get really big companies, but make this process easy for smaller companies. Again, we call it foundational cybersecurity. So get the basics in place in a basic way at a lower cost for many people. So this is our phishing test. How our phishing test works specifically, here I'll start from the beginning, is we don't create templates. Now think of it as more like an on switch for phishing. Instead of having to come in and create campaigns, manage templates, create templates, we handle all that for you. So you can create accept categories, but not necessarily specific templates. And then we give you some information, like we're doing, this is our internal phish. Mark, our COO, picking on Mark a lot today. And so you can put information about the customer when we build the template or we build the phish. We'll inject this info like in a footer or things like that. We walk you through whitelisting. This is pretty standard for anybody that's done phishing. We pick who we want to phish from the team, and then we activate it. And again, I don't know if you saw that, there's auto assign in phishing as well. So if you add someone to Atro and you have auto sign on, they'll automatically start getting phished. You don't have to go into the platform, spend time onboarding them. Now you can make sure that this whole team is getting phished and it's running on autopilot in the background. And we literally call it autopilot. So what that means is a phish runs for 90 days. Once the phish is done, we start a new campaign and pick a new template and go from there. You never have to think about phishing again. If a customer clicks or a user clicks on a phishing email, they'll re-walk through training, and you don't really have to manage that. I know a big thing in phishing, sort of in the ecosystem of phishing, is making people feel bad about phishing. What we try to do is not to make a thing of it, make it a simple process that, oops, you clicked on a phish, go through training inside of Atro, and you as an admin can monitor it. You can sit down with your customer, let them know how things are going, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, there's this other world where you run a phishing campaign and you sit down with the whole team, sort of like make people feel bad. That's what we're trying to avoid. really the risk management thing here is sending fake emails to the team so that they're vigilant. That's really what we're trying to accomplish. Not necessarily have the best templates or spend hours trying to like trick people. It's more getting them into a mindset and having a consistent phish going. So that's what we do with phishing. And again, the status of phishing is in the score that gets rolled up at a high level for the admin to see, across the board. So that's our phishing tool. Anything else you want to see, Steve? I can show you our domain security. I know SPF and DMARC is a big deal for people, so I'll do atro.com here.
Yeah. So is this actually we wouldn't have to sign up for a DMARC platform anymore? We can just use Atro?
Exactly. So now think about this again. And as we're stacking tools, if you go to a point solution, a DMARC manager, there's a lot of great tools out there. They're usually overbuilt for what you want to do, right? So we just included as a function of Atro. Now you have your domain management as well. So if you sign up a customer, you now have them phishing, you've got their policies, you're monitoring their domain, right? So hopefully you guys start to see individual tools wise, okay, it's a little bit simpler, but what you're trying to do is monitor risk and manage settings across all your domains and do this in a radically simple way so that you can scale your business and you can service 10, 20, 30 customers instead of having to spend a lot of time managing these individual point solutions. And I'll show you, that's the next part that I'm going to show everybody is sort of how you manage as a partner. We have a partner dashboard at a high level, all of these tools. So I'll walk you through the domain thing. Again, pretty simple domain scan. I'm pretty proud. Atro is 100% here. So obviously our score is really good, but we tell you your record. We give you suggestions if your record isn't right. And again, iteratively on this connector or this flow, we're partnering with Entry next, and we're going to manage the records for you. So that's coming in the future. Right now we do scanning, to start, and it's pretty enlightening. And then we'll alert you if for some reason your record changes, and we monitor it once a day. We do an automatic scan for you. So again, now that I've activated that, that's live on my dashboard, features or factors into my score, and I can sort of set it and forget it at that point. I don't have to worry about domain security anymore. So it gives you a really quick tool to go in and manage domain security for your customers.
Now, I have someone asked a question. Would this aid in, would this help us with compliance so they can get cybersecurity insurance?
So a couple of things. We have actually a cyber insurance module, and we walk you through sort of a questionnaire and a checklist to get cyber insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on, and we get a lot of feedback from MSPs, and that's a great question, about sort of framework thinking. We've built the platform so fluid and modular that we don't really have a framework right now. Again, we think of these core tools as the core tools, like that is the framework. But we're actively working on sort of CIS, NIST, SOC 2, sort of orienting and arranging these tools in a way that you can benchmark against a framework and sort of build a roadmap for it. So that's what's coming next. And that's like, again, a huge differentiator for us is I like to call it with my product team, the Infinity Stones. You can see what modules that you have active and how they're working. And then you can also see the gaps as it orients with the framework. So I'm really excited to show the community. That's going to be coming out soon. We're working on it. But to answer your question, we don't have it today, but that's one of the next major things that we're building is sort of, we call it lenses. So you can orient your dashboard based on a framework. So if you work within CIS, all the modules that you have are relative to CIS. Or if you work within NIST, that's the framework that you use. Atro sort of scores and orients itself around that framework. So that's pretty exciting. Not here today, but coming a little later.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. We've been working hard on that, and again, it's been pretty common feedback to think through a framework. Because that's, it's sort of the common language. A lot of times how people, sell security and articulate risk is through compliance.
That's really cool. Is there anything else in the platform you want to show off?
Yep. So I want to show the partner dashboard. So just orienting us in the platform. We're on a, you can think of this like as a client's dashboard right now. Like I mentioned, we can switch organizations, we can create new orgs really quickly and jump between those. We also have this sort of global view we call the partner dashboard. And if you join Atro as a partner, which is risk-free, we don't charge you anything, but you sort of get into our partner program, we give you access to this dashboard with some more other partner tools. The tools that you get are this scoring overview. So I was mentioning this earlier. You can see across kind of like clients where their apps are. So, and I can jump in, specifically, why is this, this customer, their awareness training not doing well? Or device management for Cyber 101, why is that not going well? It really gives you this like shortcut or maybe level warp, into that tool. So you don't have to be in the weeds. You can kind of come to your dashboard. Let's say you have a QBR coming up with your customer, you can check in and see how things are going. Or if it's a part of your process, just like, or your techs, just log into Atro, see how the universe is going, dive into those tools that are having challenges and help sort of push it forward. So just zooming out to the goal here. And again, from the practitioner lens, your job is to get cybersecurity done, right? See how it's going and sort of affect the outcome. So your ability to see how it's going across the environment is very, very critical. So if people aren't signing their policies, or, there's other sort of like gaps in management, we give you a really quick way to understand what's going wrong via the score and sort of drive in and make things better, right? Take the actions that you need to take. There's another thing here. I mentioned this earlier. So when you're rolling out sort of policies for your customers, you can load templates in. And when you roll out that policy inside of that flow, because you are connected to that client, they're a child org, you'll be able to see all your policies and you can use your own templates to roll this out. So I did back to your question earlier, Steve, about acceptable use or acceptable encryption. This is acceptable encryption, not AAP. So, but this is a policy that we went out and grabbed and, have rolled out for people. So that's one thing. And, this is sort of just in, as many policies as you want and included with the partner stuff. And then the last thing I'll mention is another thing we're trying to accomplish with Atro. This is really a core part of our mission and why we're building the company, is to help our partners support you guys in building your business, right? So there's a huge shift. There's like a paradigm shift happening in the market where, people are going from break fix. Not everybody, an MSP is a pretty common thing now, right? People are focusing on managed services, recurring revenue. The paradigm shift is, how do we do that with cybersecurity, right? How do you build a book of business? How do you build your MSP around supporting this risk management stuff, right? And that's a core part of Atro's partner program. We kind of coach you and teach you how to sell on cyber, how to build your business and build recurring revenue around not necessarily IT related stuff, which you can build your business around that too. But we give you the tools and sort of the package to sell cybersecurity in a simple way. So this is one of the tools that we do here. We have a cybersecurity risk assessment. It's really lightweight. It's basically for lead gen. And if you sign up for the partner platform or partner program, you get your own custom link that you can send out to your customers. They walk through the CSRA, and then you get a high level score based on the assessment. And that kind of like spurs, and you can see the results, specifically how the report shapes up. And you can sort of dive in and do a demo and, kind of get them on board from that. So that's another thing that we built specifically for our partners is that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We have a lot of other cool tools going, just to wrap it up here, we're new to the market. Like Steve said, probably haven't heard of us, but we're really here to make a change and do this differently. And we're really excited to help MSPs grow their cybersecurity through our platform. So yeah, that's Atro.
So I've got some technical questions, but before I get to those, let's start with pricing. What does this cost for MSPs to sign up for?
This is another really, really big differentiator for us, and really important for the MSPs that are building their book of cyber business. Is a part of the reason why cyber is such a problem in the industry is these tools cost so much for these smaller teams. So the MSP is sort of put in this position where you have to invest heavily in tools, and then you have to go convince a customer to pay a lot of money to do this stuff. So again, me being a practitioner, me being a poor kid, me thinking about how you affect change without necessarily having a high cost. That's a part of our mission for Atro, and it feeds into the strategy of why these things are simpler. It's like, let's make this whole process simple. And so specifically how we do our pricing is if you're in the partner program, and this isn't pricing forever, this is our introductory pricing. It's $1,000 per year per customer. So you go close a customer, we charge you Atro $1,000, and that's up to 50 seats. So we think of Atro sort of as a license, an all-in license. If you're closing larger customers, we have tiered pricing above that per seat, but it's best to think of it like $1,000 per customer for 50 seats, and that's our wholesale pricing to our partners. And we have retail pricing. So if someone goes and buys Atro, it's like $2,000 a year, but you guys can charge that margin on top, or if you bake it into your services in some other way. So we're trying to be radically lower price here with this thing to give you guys more superpowers to go in and sell these solutions, be the tip of the spear, have an easy solution for your customer to sort of build your relationship off of. So that's the pricing model.
So for $1,000 a year, and
Yep.
we have to prepay the whole year. We can't pay you like $100 a month or $86 a month or whatever.
So you're right, Steve, it's $99 a month. If you want to do monthly, there's no contracts. Again, if you pay up the first year, I guess that's technically a contract, but you can cancel anytime. But if you choose to do the month by month, it's $99 a month. The other thing that's really important is we don't make you pay that sort of upfront. You don't have to like buy Atro and then try to go sell it to your customers. If you're in our partner program, we align to win with you. So we give you the tools, we give you all this stuff for free, the training, we give you sales materials, and then you go out. We actually will get on calls with you, help you sell, get your customers. And then that's when you close a customer, we have a whole process for a free pilot. So if you get a customer interested, the next stage is get them on a pilot with Atro. It's a 30-day pilot. You meet with the customer 4 times and you help set up their security basically. Now we call it an assumptive pilot, where you get into the platform assuming that you're going to buy Atro at the end of it. So you're not, totally investing your time for free. Now they have an out, but we really are trying to build the process to help you guys close really easily. So you're not trying to like do these hard sales with your customers. It's more like check out the platform, get into it, get comfortable with it, get comfortable with you as a partner. And then we assume that you're going to like it. If you don't, you can kind of like step out. So as far as time investment, we support you, in learning and understanding how Atro works. And then finance investment, we make it really easy for you. We only charge, again, it's that $1,000 or $99 a month, and then you can charge $199 a month if you close a customer. So we're trying to be different about that as well, and really, be MSP partner friendly. That's how we're trying to build the business.
So I think one of the biggest struggles that MSPs are going to have with Atro is $99 a month, and I'm gonna say it doesn't feel like it does anything. It doesn't have antivirus, EDR, MDR. It doesn't have the spam filtering. Like it doesn't do any cybersecurity. It's all like policies and verifying that your clients are secure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that there's no value in that,
Mm-hmm.
but I think a lot of MSPs are going to struggle to see value in that when they could take that $100 per client and invest it into a tool that's actually going to protect their client's organization.
2 things, Steve, really important. One is for everybody to know, we're building more modules around EDR, mail filtering, backups, password management. So more technical tools are coming. And I'm a technical guy, and I absolutely see your point in that, right? I have to put on my security advisor cap here. And this is really why we started Atro the way we started. is there's something fundamentally incorrect in what you just said. This is why we call it foundational cybersecurity, and why I've been so successful building risk management for billionaires. Is it's not EDR. Cybersecurity is not EDR, right? EDR is a piece of cybersecurity. You managing risk for your clients is critical. And a policy is unsexy. Sorry to use that word, but
It is. It is.
But that is risk management. So that's sort of what you learn going through the Atro program, is how to sell risk management to your customers, right? And get them to understand that you do these things, these foundational things. Again, to use the word unsexy, think of a foundation of a house. It's gray concrete, right? It's not the friggin', cool entry door, all the cool stuff on it. That's how you guys are being sold sort of risk management in the market right now. Now, those are important, but it all starts with a good foundation. And those are processes, policies, basic testing and awareness training, things like that. So that's what Atro does, is it gets these clients from zero to some risk management. And this is why we built Atro the way we built it is, we're going to continue to build this stuff, and if you come into Atro now, this is why it's such a low price, is if you're grandfathered into that, you can be selling it and making great margins as we increase the feature set and get further into the market. And so we're not stopping. We're not telling you guys that these are the only things that Atro will ever do. This is just where we're at right now. And of course, we're going to have, we're partnering with, hopefully Huntress is who we're going to be doing EDR with. We're in talks with, we're rolling out a next version of our awareness training with Wiser. That's our partnership there. So there's a lot coming in the platform, but this foundational piece, regardless of if you use those tools or not, this is what every business needs. And this is why we started with that. So hopefully that's helpful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kasey. I really appreciate. Now, Yates is worried about the seats. It's up to 50 seats. It's not a minimum of 50 seats.
No.
So for $99 a month or $1,000 a year per customer, you can support one user or 50 users.
Exactly.
That's how the price works.
Yes.
So
that's exactly it.
Yeah. He's going on about, well, what if we only need 25? Then you only need 25. It's still $99 a year or $99 a month.
Yep. So go sell Atro at $2,000, for 25, and you're good to go. That's the idea.
Yeah. So I like it. I think that you're onto something here. The policy thing, you're right. It's unsexy, but it's necessary evil.
Yep.
I think that the other piece that I'm sure you'll build into it eventually is, sure, we've got the policy and this guy agreed to the policy, but how do we verify that he's actually adhering to the policy?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's a piece that I could see you guys adding in the future. And then, like you said, all of the real cybersecurity, like the tools that make the cybersecurity work, and all the prevention, I guess I should say, having those added into it will be fantastic as well. So go check out atro.com, atro.com, and get yourself signed up to be a partner. It sounds like it's free to sign up to be a partner, and you can get logged into the platform and start using that what was that tool, the prospecting tool?
Oh yes, you can start using the prospecting tool, right away.
Yes.
Also, it's free to sign up. So if you want to just go explore Atro, go sign up atro.com, and you'll see the sign up link, and you can go in. Again, you won't get the partner tools. That's a part of the partner program. Risk free, no cost, but got to be our partner to do that. So
awesome.
Thank you so much, Steve, for the time. This was awesome. I'm really looking forward to having additional conversations, seeing you guys again, and you guys seeing how Atro grows.
I am too.
So yeah.
Can't wait. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, everyone. I will catch you guys at the next episode.